What up, people? It's your friendly neighborhood shooter broadcast to you live from the lab. I'm bringing you some good old quarantine content. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to screen record me editing the it's a hair shoot, so it's going to be lengthy. I got some audio rolling, so if you got questions, put them down in the comments below. Okay, so for those who ready to learn something, let's get to learning something. Okay, let's jump right over here and let's see the screen record. What I do most of the time when I edit is depending on what it is, most edits are gonna dictate, depending on what you shot, it'll dictate what your edit is. And in this case, we need to get the hair somewhat together. That's always a challenge, being that I'm not a beautician. I don't know what hair is supposed to look like nowadays, but I'm gonna just show you a few things that I like to do. One, I have a color grade that I already set, just something simple, you know what I'm saying, adjusted the curves, adjusted skin tones for the brown, everything like that. So this is what with the color grade on, and this is with it off. I kind of, looks a little golden bronze, so helps with the melanin pop there. So every image, as you can see up here, every image is going to have that grade on there. But for this, I like to typically scan my work area to see how much work is actually going to be involved. And just judging from the hair, being that this is a hair shoot and that's the focal point, it's a whole lot to do. So yay me. So as we scan, we see a bunch of wild hairs, a bunch of like little hairs just out of the place. I guess this is the net thing that they use. Our job is to try to blend that in with the baby hairs. I don't exactly know which direction they're supposed to be going, but as you can see here, you'll see like a hair like this that doesn't match anything around it. So your job is to get rid of it. So the problem with that is that it's immensely time consuming. So at some point in time, I'll speed this up just for you guys. I gotta suffer through it, so that don't mean you have to. But at some point in time, I'll just throw some good old music on so you can kind of watch me speed through and kind of fix this. But for the most part, for the areas that don't involve like time consumed stuff, we'll just make sure we show that. But as you can see, it's a lot of hairs, little hairs that's just out of place. And you can already guess what your time is going to be if this is a hair shoot, which is why, for the record, when people ask, are you done yet, or how long do you think that'll take, it's going to take quite some time, because you didn't take the time to make sure it's right in post. So why should I try to make some magic happen where I'm sitting here for like 2-3 hours fixing stuff that could have took one swipe of the comb? You see what I'm saying? So make sure you get everything right in post first. Don't try to make magic happen make sure you get everything done in production first. Don't try to make magic happen in post. It just keeps you sitting here longer. And there's a ton of just hairs that's out of place. And yeah, so we're gonna do what we can do to try to fix that. There's no guarantee, but we still gonna do what we can do. Let's see here. So skin is actually the easy part. Yeah, nothing wrong with the skin, nothing wrong with the face. Gorgeous face. We good. It's pretty simple. That's pretty simple. Then I look at the background just to see, how, if you're close to your background, then you can see your wrinkles in there. If you're kind of far away and you're using a faster lens with a way better depth of field, you get that buttery, blurred out background anyway. So let's see. So let's just dive right into this thing here. So what I will do is I'll start on the right side, and I'll use this is the Paint brush tool. I'm using Infinity, if you guys didn't already know. So Affinity. Funny thing with Affinity is that I never learned how to use Photoshop, so I'm watching tutorials on how to use Photoshop, and the commercial ran for Affinity. So I was just like, okay. And then the best thing is that you own it. You don't have to pay a subscription every month. By no means is this sponsored by Affinity, but hey man, I'm just calling it the way I see it. So but let's get back to this. So like a little hair like this, I mean, I'll try to get rid of that. With painting, it kind of just samples the pixels around you. So the idea is to keep a small brush to kind of make sure your sampling doesn't go all crazy, and then you figure the little bit that you do goes a long way. So not too much that you got to fix down here, because the hair is separated and it's toward the end, so people expect some wildness toward the end. What I'm looking for is hairs that cross over, like, so in this case, this is a lighter colored hair crossing over a darker section of hair. So then I'll take my brush and I'll boom, just paint that away. Boom, boom. So I'll scan the hair, in those large sections to where you'll see the hair just crossing over each other or whatnot. So I'll scan all of the hair just to make sure that it doesn't look like that. So let's see what that looks like before and after. So this is after, this is before, after, before. So I mean, it's making small contributions, and I think that's the way you want to do it. You just want to make small contributions, to affect the overall picture. So like I say, a lot down here I'm probably not going to touch, because it's just too separated down here, and I'd rather focus on the areas that have those crossovers, because there's a lot of them. See, all this in this area, if I wanted to, I could just sample this over here and just get rid of that. Let's see if that'll work. So yeah, so instead of we're gonna hit S on my keyboard, and then I'm gonna sample this area here, keep the same brush, and then we just gonna paint that out. We're just gonna get rid of that. Just gonna get rid of all that, and then we're gonna come inside to sample that, lifting the brush to resample, and then instead of trying to deal with all that, we just gonna clone stamp that out. That is S on the keyboard. Again, I'm using a Mac, so I don't know what it would be on the Windows. I've not used Windows in a very long time, so, but on the Mac, on the keyboard, it's just S. So we're gonna switch back to our painting brush tool, and we are gonna continue on our journey of finding those hairs that cross over contrasting areas. So that's one right there. And they always ask, like, what takes so long? I mean, if we take the right time, see, real quick, this area here, you just zoom out and see if it's like a major problem, and it's kind of on the secondary side of the face, which is the right side. Most people not really paying attention over there, but I do see at least two that I can get rid of that'll affect the entire picture, as opposed to trying to worry about everything in there. And these are the ones that stuck out for me. The ones that's on the outside, not too much concern about them, because I'll show you a method that I use to get rid of the ones that's on the outside. So I'm not really concerned with those right now. Let's see here, just tapping it a little bit. Just, you always want to scan out just to see, what may look like a problem area, And just from that scan out, I can tell this, that, and that were problem areas. After that, I didn't really see anything. This real bright one here, this real extra blonde one. All right, this crossover right there, that crossover, boom. Like I say, I'm not really worried about the edges. The edges, I'll show you a technique I use to kind of, I won't say smooth out the edges, but kind of like get rid of the flyaways. So we'll go here a little bit more. Boom. All right, up there, right there, this, that piece, that's a crossover, that's a crossover, that's a crossover, crossover. Boom. All this can go. All that, all that. This one here. Okay. Boom. All right. Let me scan out. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. I could deal with that. I could deal with that. Definitely could deal with that. And then for the ones that are extremely long, so like these right here, I shorten those because I'm finna show you my method of using the pen tool. I'm gonna use the pen tool and the pen tool and what am I gonna use? Selection tool. So it'd be the pen tool and the selection tool. Get rid of the real big ones that stick out. I only want the little ones. Just keep my area small. Gotta watch out for them lashes. You don't want to take them lashes away. Okay, there we go. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. All right, so now we're gonna take the pen tool, and I'm just gonna work with the right side of the head. I'm probably gonna start somewhere around the crown. Pull that to kind of make a Bezier curve. Kind of keep that a little straight up top there. Another Bezier curve. Another curve around that corner right there where the eyelash is at. Oh, that's kind of deep. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll use two different ones because when you pull them, when you pulling on the pixel point, I guess I don't really know what it's called, but when you pulling them on that pixel point, it kind of throws you off. I'm not the best with making, you know, curves and things like that. I just know how to use it. I'm gonna come up here and make it a selection, then hit Shift Command I to go to make an inverse. Then I'll hit the clone stamp tool, and like I say, to get rid of the longer ones, the better, because then you can clone stamp closer to your image. And as I'm doing this, it's already created a border for me, so I don't have to worry about going inside and messing up that hair. But the better selection you make with the pen, the better your hair looks. So in this case, you know, keeping the crown of that. All right, boom, boom. Like I say, I'm only doing the left side right now. Sometimes you may have to resample closer. All right, so we got to resample about right there. Okay, be mindful of the lashes. Go in there, smaller brush. Boom, boom, there we go. All right, that'll work. That's pretty cool. Excuse me, raise that brush up. There we go. And then we're gonna stop right there because I went too deep with the actual curve. So I'll hit Command D to deselect. Let's zoom out and see what that side of the head looks like. This is what we just did. This is what it looked like before. Hold on, let me get you a better image of it. So that is current. That's before. As you can see, it helped out a lot, especially around the crown area by the eyes. So in this area by the eyes, you had a lot going on right there, and now you don't. So now let's clean this part up right here without the curve. Like I say, you don't want to make it too straight because hair doesn't fall like that, but the closer it is to the crown, the more intact the hair is, and the further it falls down, the less intact it is. So I try to keep that curve real sharp towards the top and not so much towards the bottom. So from right here, we're gonna make another curve just to kind of curve that in a bit more, and then that'll be the end of that side. Make that a selection, Command Shift I, hit S for the clone stamp, and then we're just gonna tap it a little bit just to make that curve a little bit more defined. Like I say, I'm not trying to make the perfect curve because no hair is like perfect all the way down to the bottom. Command D, deselect, and that side of the hair looks pretty good. Looks intact. Looks like they did that. I did that. All right, so now the big task, the big job is we're gonna just work down. Okay, we're just gonna work in sections and work down. So we'll start here, we'll work everything in this section, and then we'll slide down. Let me go back to my in paintbrush, and for this, I never know what this is supposed to look like, so I just try to blend it in to the scalp or surrounding areas. That way it doesn't look as bad as like a net, or I don't really know what that is. That's coming together a little bit. Let's take away this hair. This is going the wrong way. Get a little smaller brush. Oh, to get a smaller or a larger brush, it's just open bracket, close bracket. So one hand's on my tablet, and the other hand is on the open bracket, close bracket. Let's see. Get that. All right, that looks. I guess that's what they were going for. I'm gonna get rid of this long one. And I'm not worried about the skin. When we make it to the skin, I'll definitely show you what to do for that. Same with the background. Not worried about that right now. Right now, the biggest job is the main focus, and that's the hair. So we're gonna make sure the hair is as good as it can be, as best as it can look, and as crisp as it can be. Again, this is the area right here where you got light hair over dark hair, or one light hair over a patch of dark hair. So just try to blend that in the right way. There we go. Touch that a little bit. And like I say, you're not trying to fix every single follicle of hair. That's pretty much impossible, and there's not enough time or money to do that. Maybe enough money, which will create enough time. But in this case, we're just gonna get it pretty good. There we go. Get rid of that. And it doesn't have to be like all the way gone, just so it's not as visible. And you'll see the difference once we go there. I'll do just this section of it, and then I'll just speed ramp the rest just so you can see that. So we'll do this just so you can see me doing it, and I just work my way across. Normally I got a movie on, or something to where on this screen to where I can just watch. Doesn't have to have any sound. I don't even have to be watching it. I could just be listening to it just so I can have some white noise. because bruh, this take a long time. This take mighty long time right here. Looking for them crosshairs, just scanning from left to right. Doesn't matter if the crosshair is white or dark. You're just looking for the crosshairs. Just trying to eliminate as many as you can see. If you can't see them all, that's okay. That's fine, you know. You did the best you can do. You definitely can see this one. Big black one running right across. Yep. Boom. Get rid of that. I see this curve on here. So, what do y'all think about this so far? People always ask, you know, what takes so long? You know, when am I gonna get the edits? And it's just like, bruh, if we spent the time getting it right in post, you know, we'll go ahead and get it right in if we spent the time getting it right in production, we'll get it right in post. I don't want to scroll down yet, because like I say, I'm gonna speed ramp this for y'all. Just gonna work this area just so you can see me working as many as I can see. Of course, if you see more, you know, you can do more if you got time, you know. But when you got like 19 other edits, 17 other clients, and then more to come, kind of got to work smart in as many areas as you can. Get that one right. And like I say, the ones on the outer edge, not really worried about those right now. Just looking for the crosshairs. As you can see, we can take care of those in one fell swoop. A lot easier. Boom. Working our way down. Working across, working down. And you just want to find the most obvious ones, really. Like that's obvious. This one's pretty obvious. So is that one. Alright, so, you know, just off a rough one, we pretty much got that. Let me slide this under the grade just so we can. So as you can see, a little goes a super long way. Super long way. Super duper long way. So like I said, not too much worried about these, but I'll get those in a minute. But I'm gonna stop this camera here, and we're just gonna leave the screen recording going just so we can speed ramp you, because we are already at 20 something minutes probably. But I'm gonna keep editing, and I'm gonna come back with you. Okay, so we kind of knocked that out a little bit there. As you can see, this is where we're at. This is where we were. Again, small contribution, bigger picture. So now I'm gonna just take my clone stamp tool, and before I use the selection or the pen tool for the selection, I'm gonna just try to get rid of some of the bigger ones out here with the clone stamp. And as you can see, it's giving like a two-tone type background. Again, not worried about that right now. Just want to get a clean, close edge. Try to follow the curls. That way we're not manipulating the hairstyle at all. Just want to get rid of some of those wild hairs that don't belong. I think that's supposed to be there. All this may supposed to be there. Smaller brush go in there. Knock a little bit more of those out the way. I think this is supposed to happen like that, so we're gonna leave that. Get rid of this. Yeah. Like I say, toward the bottom, it's kind of supposed to be like that, but the crown definitely should be the smoothest part of the hair, so we'll stop that somewhere right around here. And you can always adjust, so like I'll go into here and use the node tool, and we'll just bring that down to about right there. All right, there is fine. But you got to go back to the pen tool for the selection. Command Shift I, clone stamp, and sample somewhere close to it. That way your crown of the head is smooth. Right there. Alright, maybe select that. So, like I say, that is the hair as we are right now. Let's take a look before, after. It's already looking pretty good, pretty good. Now this area here, it's not working for me. It's just not working for me, so we're just gonna cut that off. Then we're gonna cut that off with the clone stamp. Oh. So let's do this. Bigger, bigger. We're gonna go inside, swoop like that. I'm gonna try to follow that curve, or that curl, should I say. Just swoop in there like that. There we go. And then real quick, we're just gonna use the patch tool just to kind of get rid of some of that discoloration that we do have around the hair. Like I say, not really worried about the background right now. I can fix that in no time flat, but just a quick job. Use the patch tool, get rid of some of the discoloration of the background. Okay, so our hair is looking pretty good. I like that. It looks good, looks nice, look real nice. Alright, so now we're gonna go to the skin, finally. Get to the skin area, and these are just moles. I mean, you know, again, depending on what the image is for, you kind of want to leave certain stuff, but in this case, this is a beauty shot, mostly focused on the hair style, or I don't know, I don't really know. Are we focusing on the style of the hair? I don't know, but anyway, we just gonna, you know, tap a little bit of this off of her. Just tap, 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 you know, anything that'll take attention away from the actual hair, which is why we're here. So we're gonna tap these little moles off of, you know, anything that'll distract you from where you're supposed to be looking. and my aim is to get you to look at the eyes, which will bring you to the hair and face. So anywhere with those three, I'm good to go. And like I say, skin, I'm not worried about it right now. I can fix all this. We just tapping anything away before we actually get to editing the actual skin and making it smooth and nice and ready for marketing. Everything's good there. Face was not a problem. Nothing in the face that I see. Maybe a little discoloration here and here. But like I say, overall, she looks fine. A little tap there, a little tap here, a little tap there, a little tap here. Yeah, face is fine for the next step. So now that we got the hair kind of together, like I say, this is where we are currently. Let me bring this down so you can see the crown. This is where we are currently, and this is where we were. Like I say, if you can see it, man, just a world of difference by just taking your time and kind of tapping some of those things away. We'll definitely bring out some of the highlights in the hair just to make it pop a little bit more, and we'll pop the eyes. But next, we are going to go to frequency separation in filters. I'm probably going to leave these settings the way it is. The default has always worked for me, so I'll always use the default. And I just discovered that I didn't have my mic on, so sorry about that. But yeah, so we are going to leave these settings the way they are. I don't have a problem with that. Sound probably just got real better for y'all, didn't it? So let's see here. Let's do this while we're at it. Let's make the scratch audio a little bit better. Jesus Christ, forgetting everything. But there we go. We're gonna select this is the paint mixture brush. Okay, paint mixture brush. Go to the low frequency layer, and I am going to hit the buttons. The hotkeys that I'm going to keep using it's going to be the open bracket, close bracket, and the letter C for clearing the brush. So C, and we're going to work on the skin a little bit here. Like I say, this is where your ambidextrous comes in place, as far as like being both-handed. And we're just gonna work around, not get rid of the highlights, keep the eyebrows looking pretty good. There we go. Up like that. We're gonna go with every shadow, because we want to keep every shadow, every highlight, you want to go with it and not necessarily against it, because then you'll get rid of the natural way her face looks. So this shadow here has to stay because of the extreme length of the eyelashes. They give that shadow right below the eye, so unfortunately that has to stay. And then we're going to keep this cheek in play because she's giving a little smize, a little smirk. Clear, and then we're going to come on down, get up in there, on down to the chin area, keep that looking straight. I work pretty fast with this now. First it took a while to kind of get into it, but now I kind of got this down to a science. Clear. Again, this area here, ladies, you know, anybody that's still watching this, man, if you're doing beauty shots, okay, if you're doing beauty shots to where the head, whether it's the face or the hair or the makeup, eyes, anything like that, make sure you shave or wax anything right there, because I can see it and it's it's a bitch to get rid of. It really is, because yeah, it's a bitch to get rid of. So again, the better you do in production, the better your post and the faster your post comes out. But in her case, she has none of that, so we ain't worried about it. But trust me, I see it. Get over here to the left side of the right side of the face. All right, that's looking pretty good. Clear that up, whatever that is. Boom. I still see it. Corner. And this is what we are now. This is where we were. So just cleaning the face up. Now we go with the neck. Sometimes if somebody has like those extreme like wrinkles on the neck or whatnot, I kind of leave them. But in this case, she kind of got like light wrinkles. So it's like we can go and get rid of that. Go and just take that out the way. Just go and take it out the way. Now these shadow highlight combination right here has to stay because that's her clavicle and her neck. So that kind of gives you that depth, that realism. Shadows are just as much a part of your face as any light. So if you get rid of everything that's shadowy, you take away the depth of that person's feel. That way they stop looking realistic, look more cartoonish. So yeah, smaller brush, bigger brush. Get the cleavage area, clean that up. Alright, that's good. Boom. Yeah, clean that up there. That's fine. Smaller brush. Just go down there. Cool. Now to the left shoulder. We are almost done, guys. Almost done. Just gotta tap the background, tap the hair, pop the eyes, and that is a wrap. So we want to keep that because that was a part of it. Yeah, there we go. Yep. Like that. Yep. Boom. There we go. And this is where we are. This is where we were. Where we are. Where we were. Where we are. Alright, so now this is where it gets a little bit more tedious, so to say. So I have some pre-installed brushes. This is a hair and retouch brush that I have. So I'm gonna take this one, and while I'm still in the low frequency area, because as you can see, left and right rotates your brush. So if this was, we're just gonna show you this real quick. Just give me a new page. I'm gonna select this brush, or let's do 50. Okay, so 50. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what we're working with. So if I make it smaller, there's your hair right there. Or F20, that's more fine. I like, let's try 30. No, let's stay with 20. Yep, so 20 is where I'm going to use in the low frequency. We can delete that. So over here at 20, we just gonna undo paint mixture at 20, and we're just gonna go with the hair. Very tedious, but makes a big impact. Turn the brush. slightly bigger. I'll show you difference. Where we were, where we are, where we were. Actually, let me do this. Let me copy that. This is the original. So you'll see the difference in a minute. Wrong one. Wrong one. Wrong layer. So you'll see the variation it go from a light highlight to a medium highlight. Well, this is like super highlight right here. And all I'm doing is just going down, just tracing the hair. This is more of the medium highlight. And this is definitely a shadow. So from this to that, subtle, real subtle, but it's definitely gonna make a pop. So, and again, this is just working with the paint mixture brush in those areas. That basically I just want to make sure some of those tough areas that we worked with are blended in properly. So I don't want to go left right because none of the hair is going left right. Just want to stay with the up down motion. And this is all happening on a low frequency layer because we want to adjust the color. Just want to make sure the color of everything is happening. Get that swerve. Make sure that swerve is nice. Sometimes when I go from like a highlighted area to a more shadowy area, I do clear the brush, depending on how much of a highlight it is. There we go. Boom. Let me show you where we at. So real subtle differences. Like I say, the more you, the less you put into it, the more your picture is coming to what you need it to be. So I try not to put too much into making each follicle the best or the absolute perfect, because it's a process. And as you can see, this process is wee. It's a process, baby. It's a process, baby. Want to make sure we right, baby. There we go. Stay in that. Stay with that. These are like mid tones, I want to say. And then we got some highlights right here. A couple more mid tones going into a different direction. These are definitely shadowy mid tones. Alright. Come out of there. Go right there. So as you can see, that little section has been worked on. Boom, boom. Yep, so just something simple, something subtle to kind of make sure it's going the way we need it to go. And this is where we are. This is where we were. Where we are, where we were. Nice. Nice. And then for, nope, you don't need that yet. Go back to spray paint. And then for this area for sure, make sure I tap that into place. This one blends those hard hit areas a little bit better. But I try not to use it too much because it does kind of take away from some of the actual hair features. So, you know, just sparingly tapping it. Just tap, 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 tap. There we go. So there's your hair. There's what it was. This is what it is. And just for extra pop, we're gonna add another layer of high frequency just to give that sharpness, that realness, that ooh-wee. And like I said, we almost done, baby. We almost done. We're almost done. So now let's affect this background. Clean brush. And it's no secret, just use the low frequency area with the same paint mixture brush. You know, probably a larger brush, and just kind of go over your background. That's it. There's no secret to it. Just to smooth out your background. If you can smooth out your skin, you can smooth out your background. So we'll do that. Just smooth that background out. Be careful not to use too large of a brush, because then you will start sampling your hair or your skin, and you don't want that. So like right around the head or the skin, just use a smaller brush, and then just gradually go out and get those other areas. You know, depending on your processor, you want to give your computer time to catch up. Clear, always clear before you move to a different lighted area so it can resample. Like I say, I'm right here by the hair. Small little circles right here by the hair in the front, and then since that's more like a halo or spotlight behind her, we're gonna keep those in like a curvature motion, because we don't want to go left to right and then just start mixing the dark with the lighted area, when how it was shot was supposed to light up the face and show separation from the brown background. So we'll just go in like a crescent moon shape. As you can see right here, this area I sampled. So we're gonna Control Z, and we're gonna keep that smaller as we move away from the breast area from that t-shirt. Go back, fix that. And also, one thing you definitely don't want to do is you don't want to keep going for like 20 minutes, then you mess up, and then you hit Command Z, and then take away everything you did. So as you're going, lift the pen up, boom, 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 because it gives you a shorter redo section. Because if you just kept going, like if I never lift the pen up as I was doing the background, and let's say I messed up and got some of her face sample, and I hit Command Z to undo, it's gonna undo everything because you never lifted up. So the computer thought that was one continuous motion, and you like, gotta do that again. So like for this, boom, done with that. Lift up, let the computer realize that's, you know, I'm making another mark. So now lift up. Well, I haven't lifted up yet, but I'm only working on the edges. So if you keep doing this for like all the way through, this is one motion. So as you hit Command Z, it's gonna take away everything you just did. So shorter pen strokes, you know, when you trying to clear an area, it'll keep you together. Trust me, just shorter pen strokes, dog. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't mess yourself up and then have to redo something. So, all right, that's looking spicy. That's looking real spicy, like where we are, where we were, where we are, where we were, where we are. You get the picture. All right, so now we're gonna take care of these eyes and this hair, just like the highlights and stuff on there. So let me go over here to adjustments. Let's go to curves. Now I'm gonna push the curves all the way. This is the master file. I'm gonna just push it all the way because really what I'm looking at is the eyes. I want to kind of see that brown in them eyes a little bit. So from right there, then we're gonna hit Command I, and we're gonna go over here to this paintbrush, spray paint again. We're gonna leave everything the same, and then we're making sure we're painting with a white because we did the inverse. So I just want to bring that brown back in them eyes. I'll go over the whites a little bit, but mostly the brown is what I want to see. And this is with it, without it, with it, without it, with it. And then as you can see, that really pops the eyes. Like really pops the eyes. Like really brings attention right toward the eye, which is where we want it to be. And this is without it, with it, without it, with it, without it. And that's tad intense, so I'm gonna just bring it down just like 75, adjust the brightness on there, and then I'm gonna make a separate curves layer for the hair because I don't want to, you know, if you have to adjust something, I don't want to have to adjust it without it. So with this, we're just gonna do that. It's gonna be like a dodge and burn for the hair. So just create another one. I'm gonna go over here. One is gonna be screen, the other one's going to be multiply, and then we're just gonna inverse both of them, flip them, and then this is where I take the opacity down to like 25 and the flow down to like 25 because I don't really need a whole lot. I just need it, you know, just a little tap tap. And this is also where you can just use, well, this is where I would use my retouch brush, and I would just use the 20 that I already had. So we're gonna go and we're gonna, that's a lot. So let me go up and pick a different one. Let me go with, yeah, I like that one. So again, we're gonna adjust the 25 for the flow, opacity 25, and then hardness, we can leave the hardness. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I don't mind that. And we just tapping, all we're doing is just tapping the highlights. We're not focused on nothing else but the highlights because I'm in the I'm using the one that says screen, so that's gonna be my dodge. Just tapping the highlights, just tapping the highlights, just tapping, tap tap, tap tap, tap tap tap, tapping highlights. That's it. Now for shadows and midtones, boom boom boom, just tap those. This one's a larger area, it was more gnarly. I'll come off of that a taste. About one more. There we go. Tap, tap, more of the shadow area. You don't need too much with that. You just want to show the wave in that. And up here, tap, tap, boom. A little bit over there, a little bit there. go back, tap that highlight, boom, good. So I'll put this in a folder. That'll be the dodge and burn of just hair. So we'll mark that D and B hair. Boom. So if I wanted to turn that on or turn that off, as you can see, same with the if you wanted to bring it up a taste, you know what I'm saying, really make that help stand out. But if I do that, then I'll take this down to maybe like 25. And honestly, I'm not gonna double it, just gonna leave it the way it is. And there you have it. This is the final. Well, this is where we were. This is where we were. And this is where we gradually worked our way to. Let me show you that. Oh, it'll be on there. So this is where we were. This is where we gradually worked our way to. There you have it. So this has been a full edit. I appreciate you guys for hanging with me, for rocking with me. I know it's a super long video, but like I say, depending on what you edit in, it kind of takes a while. So in this case, we did a hair edit for a client, and the lovely model didn't have to fix anything. All we had to fix was those wild hairs. So the best advice I can give you is, if you are doing a shoot, take your time during that production to make sure every aspect of it can be as perfect as possible, because that cuts down on your edit time. That cuts down on you sitting right here. We've roughly been editing for maybe an hour or plus, you know, hour or some change. But this is where we at, and this is where I'll leave you. So if you like this video, definitely throw them thumbs up in the air, click them like you just don't care, shoot that arrow at that subscribe button, and ring that bell for notifications. I have been Don Juan the Shooter. You have been the viewer. Deuces.